Hello, welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast with your favorite host, Young. And the podcast is called Mouth Dancing. Thank you. What do you guys think of New Year's? I think the way that we celebrate it in America is pretty stupid. Everyone just drinks a bunch of alcohol, like usually at some sort of a house party or some sort of big gathering. You just get shit-faced, and then at midnight everyone just screams. They like count down to, from 10 to midnight or whatever. And I don't know, that just seems so pointless to me. It's so dumb. I don't even consider it really a holiday. It's just like alcoholism, basically, right? Other countries, like in Japan and Korea and stuff, they have their New Year's celebrations. Oh, China too. There's just more tradition to them, and there's like more customs and stuff going on. And I don't know, the American New Year's is just really, really underwhelming. There isn't much going on. Well, I guess in the new year people make silly resolutions. Kind of like, for the month of January, I'm not going to be a total piece of shit. It's basically the resolution, and then totally forget about it after that, and then start over again. So the next year, next January, I'll be good again for a month. That seems to pretty much sum up the whole New Year's experience in America. And they light off fireworks a lot of times at midnight. I've never been too crazy about fireworks. They're kind of like, you've seen them once, you've seen them a million times, basically, right? They always do the same thing. They just go up in the sky and they explode and they're bright and they make a lot of noise and people scream at them. It's weird how people scream at things like fireworks. It kind of reminds me of when people scream at like an NFL game or something. They're screaming at the television. It's like one of the most utterly pointless things you could possibly do. Screaming at a firework seems kind of weird too. But there's a whole song about it by Katy Perry. Remember the firework song that she had? His baby, you're a firework. Come on, let your colors burst or something like that. Is Katy Perry still around? She was real hot shit for a while, huh? But you don't really hear about her too much these days. But at the same time, you had Lady Gaga and Miley Cyrus. They were both around. And they're still kind of around lately, but you don't hear that much about Katy Perry. I don't know, is she still making music or something? Or what's going on with her? Didn't she marry that elf guy from The Lord of the Rings? Orlando Bloom? Maybe they're just busy being a family and stuff, enjoying all their wealth. I guess that's what happens when you're rich, right? When you marry another rich person. You don't have to worry about a whole lot. Just kind of chill, right? Speaking of chilling, it's snowing right now, which really annoys the shit out of me. I should have just stayed in New York City if it's gonna snow this much over here in Seattle. Since I've moved out here at the end of 2016, I think it snowed like almost every year out of that, every winter. I don't think it used to snow this much over here. Is it like climate change or what? What's going on? But snow is, it's like fun for a few hours, right? When it's really fresh. And it's kind of exciting when it's falling from the sky. But then it's really annoying how it just lingers around a lot of the time and then it turns into slush and mud and gets mixed with all the salt and everything. So I'm not a huge fan of snow. I think I've seen enough of it for my entire lifetime. When I was a kid, my family lived in Alaska for a few years and I saw a shit ton of snow while I was there. I even had to literally walk to school in the snow back then. You know how people talk about that? Old people talk about how they had to walk to school in the snow both ways or whatever. I literally had to do that when I was a kid. And I remember we used to wear snowsuits there. You wear like a big onesie that's like a big snowsuit. That's how much it snows over there. Kids have snowsuits. It's like a normal part of their wardrobe. And then I lived on the East Coast for a long time, so I saw a lot of snow while I was there too, and I'm just over it pretty much. It's not that cool as an old person or as a middle-aged person. I think I would rather live in a sunny climate. I'm just done with all this crappy weather. It's not all it's cracked up to be. Some people really get excited though, don't they? I think it's because it's like one of the most stimulating things in their lives. They're very passive and they're inside their house all the time, and they don't go out and do much that makes them really stimulated. You know, they're just at home all the time, like drinking or smoking weed or whatever. So when it snows, it's like super exciting to them. Like, oh, something's happening in my external environment that's kind of abnormal. And it's stimulating all my senses, and I love it. And I get to go out and like play in the snow, and maybe I don't have to go to work or school. And then I get to come back in and then drink hot cocoa and watch movies or something like that, you know? I think that's why a lot of people like it. But for me, I don't know, it just gets in the way of shit that I want to do, you know? I want to go out and be, you know, outside and stuff. The snow just gets in the way of that. Snow it's a big white mess is what it is. That's what I like to call it, actually. You ever think of what it would have been like in the caveman days? Like, just doing the most basic things would have been really weird, right? Like, do you think people just ate, like, everything they saw, having no idea if it was poisonous or not? Like, every day was like a total crapshoot, right? You have to eat something, but then you don't know if it's poisonous or not. It took, like, hundreds of thousands of years for humans to figure out which things we could eat and which we can't. You know, even now, every once in a while people, I don't know, eat the wrong mushrooms or something and die. That's just wild that we came from cavemen. Or, I guess they didn't necessarily all live in caves. Some of the ancient humans lived like in the savannah, or like in a forest, or maybe near the ocean. I guess there would probably be a cave nearby that you could retreat to. I think people like just cared about their appearance at all at that time? Or you didn't even have time to think about what you looked like really? You just had all your hair growing out. I wonder if they cut their hair back then. Like, it would probably get annoying once it got too long, right? So they'd probably just cut it with like a really sharp rock or something, just because it was getting in their face too much. I recently shaved my head. My hair was like past my shoulders. And even that was pretty annoying, you know? You just be in my way all the time, unless I tied it back. And then the bun thing would kind of get in the way when I tried to like lean my head back on stuff. Long hair is kind of cool looking, but it's a serious pain in the butt to maintain. Yeah, and they didn't have shampoo back then either, so that must have been insane. Like, everyone probably had dreadlocks back then, right? Like, your hair would just naturally get dreadlocked. I don't know, how did that work? Maybe they had like combs. Maybe they made combs out of like sticks and stuff. Do you think that they laughed at like things like farts and stuff? Because it sounded funny? And they'd be like, what is that sound that came out of my butt just now? And then they would all crack up at it. Or maybe they would get kind of scared. It was probably scary at first. They'd be like, what was that? Why did that happen? Am I okay? Why is my butt talking to me? I wonder if that's what it was like. Do you think cavemen had time to like masturbate? They were probably too busy to masturbate, right? Like, I gotta find something to eat and not get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger and avoid that guy on the other side of the mountain who wants to kill me for some reason and tries to steal my food all the time. I think the only thing they could do is when they get horny is try to find someone to have sex with, right? And then, I don't know. They probably didn't have time to, like, stroke their wieners or whatever. I guess if it was a female cave person, then she would have to masturbate in a different way, but do you think cave people masturbated? Do you think it was natural for them to squat when they pooped? Like the first time someone was like, oh man, I gotta poop. Did they naturally just squat down and do it? Or did they try to do it standing up and it got all over themselves? But I guess humans didn't just suddenly appear. We evolved, so like our primate ancestors probably had a way of pooping, right? And then we just continued doing that. It's not like humans just suddenly appeared, like if you believe in creationism, and then suddenly had to figure everything out. It's like we came from primates and figured everything out gradually. But then I guess humans invented a bunch of stuff, right? It's kind of murky, isn't it, that time in history? It's kind of cool, actually, though, that we don't know. They didn't have smartphones back then, you know? Weren't cave people, like, documenting everything they were doing? They didn't have time for that nonsense. Now it's like, you know, if your dog does something cute, you film it and put it on the internet. But back then, they didn't have time for that. They're like, I gotta go figure out which berries are gonna kill me and which ones are not. Wonder what a caveman would do with his boner, though. He'd probably get horny sometimes and pop a boner out of nowhere and be like, what do I do with this thing? And rub up against a tree or something? Or like hump the ground? Wonder when they figured out masturbation, like they could just stroke their wieners. I think monkeys do that, right? Like chimpanzees? So we probably have known about it since before we became human even, right? And then it was just passed down from our, like, monkey and ape ancestors to us. That's a pretty cool tradition that's been passed down over the eons, right? Thank you, monkey ancestors, for teaching us that. That's really cool. You guys and gals are the best. Anyway, this was a special New Year episode for all of you. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you have a happy New Year. And may all your New Year's resolutions last beyond the month of January. Because if not, they're pretty much pointless, so don't even bother otherwise. Thanks for listening. I love you. And I appreciate you. And see you next week. Goodbye.